Well, as an infamous film director once said in his left-handed slam of the city movers and shakers,
San Francisco, a spumoni-like hodgepodge of wild architecture.
And it's currently home to a mayor who, in what seems to be a grandiose display of real structural racism to supposedly stand up to overblown claims of social racism, just decided she's going to use other people's money to pay women in government-chosen racial cadres to get pregnant. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV. Yes, indeed, it's true. San Francisco Mayor London Breed, a Democrat whose name is very apropos, appears to be so disinterested in handling the homeless problem, the feces-littered public streets, and the skyrocketing business closures due to government-imposed lockdowns, she decided Columbus Day would be a good time to pander to SJWs, using, of course, other people's money. Her brilliant idea? As Gabriel Keane reports for National File, quote, on Monday, the San Francisco mayor's office announced the launch of a government program called the Abundant Birth Project, which will give $1,000 per month cash payouts to Black and Pacific Islander women for becoming pregnant and having children. Which is curious for numerous reasons, not the least of which is the fact that Mayor Breed made a big deal of accepting the endorsement of the Planned Parenthood Northern California Action Fund.
The outrageous laws against women's reproductive rights.
And that organization isn't exactly aligned with increasing birth rates among minorities. Then there's the ethics of not only transferring private wealth from those who actually earned it to others whom the government deems in need of the money.
The need for more support and assistance is definitely necessary in this community. And so as a result, this pilot program will provide some additional financial resources.
There's the actual ante factum promise of a payment if particular actions like pregnancy and childbirth are undertaken. And given Breed's embrace of Planned Parenthood, it's important to note that the monthly payments begin when the racially selected women become pregnant and end 7 months after birth. So women can still make cash off the taxpayers until they get government-subsidized abortions.
We're going to be analyzing this data to determine if this makes an improvement.
The mayor's office stated in a press release that the pilot will provide an unconditional monthly income supplement of $1,000 to approximately 150 Black and Pacific Islander women in San Francisco for the duration of their pregnancy and for the first 6 months of their baby's life, with a goal of eventually providing a supplement for up to 2 years post-pregnancy.
California isn't just the heart of the resistance. We are the future.
You know, there's a term in economics called moral hazard, and that occurs when some outside power, usually government, subsidizes or promises to cover the liabilities of a person or organization if they engage in a particular kind of behavior. As a rule, the recipient is incentivized to engage in riskier, less attentive behavior, increasing the likelihood that resources such as human labor, time, ingenuity, and even hope will be misdirected, and increasing the chance that the third party, the taxpayer, when government is involved, will be on the hook to bail out even more when the risky behavior becomes a breakdown. Government subsidies of college education, home purchases, businesses, rail systems, the U.S. Postal Service, solar corporations, and myriad other aspects of life.
We are the future, and believe me, the future is blue.
And this right now in San Francisco is another catalyst for reckless behavior that's not only predicated on government tax theft, it'll increase more prospective welfare expenses for the already immoral government monster wreaking havoc in San Francisco. Oh, yeah, then there's the selective racist targeting of the recipients.
In particular, again, both African American and Pacific Islander.
It's still incredible and galling, writes Keane, The press release went on to mention various critical race theory talking points, such as structural racism and racial justice, racial equality, and a racial wealth gap. But as decades of race-based quotas at colleges have shown, and as decades of welfarism have sown, taking from some in order to lift others doesn't help the recipients of the aid. It sows discord, sows increased rates of failure, and sows dependency.
Poverty, discrimination, and disparities. Quote, the plain fact is that the black poverty rate declined from 87% in 1940 to 47% in 1960, prior to the expansion of the welfare state that began in the 1960s under the Johnson administration. There was a far more modest decline in the poverty rate among blacks after the war on poverty began, close quote. How could that have been?
Well, it could be because the things that they thought were going to help did not help, and in many cases made things much worse.
But none of this is on Breed's radar. None of this appeared in her Columbus Day SJW posturing. It was all collectivist racism and fake mother hen caring with other people's money. For generations, that has been a recipe for trouble. And in a city where Breed and her gang can't even keep people from soiling the streets, where businesses are shutting down because of her draconian Cowabunga 19 lockdowns, it's not pandering with other people's dwindling cash that's necessary. It's freedom. Simple, true, honest, peaceful freedom. She doesn't seem to get it. Hey, thanks so much for watching. You get it, and please share this with others whom you think might get it as well. Really appreciate you being part of the team here, folks. Remember, if you want to see what the whole MRC TV team is doing, go to mrctv.org. That's mrctv.org. Bookmark it, visit it a couple times a day. You'll see amazing stories there. Please visit us on Facebook, and remember, we're on Instagram as well. And if you want some really cool threads, yes indeed, I wore it again due to popular demand. In search of real news. Yeah, the search continues. Oh, yeah, this is a cool shirt. I love it. So remember, please go to MRC-store if you want some great Media Research Center fashions and swag. For MRC TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.